Welcome back to another video. As you can see, we are taking a look at win-loss predictions for every NBA team following the complete 2024-2025 schedule release. So basically what this is they took from FanDuel. Yeah, it's from FanDuel. They took their over-unders of, how many wins. For anyone who doesn't know how sports betting works or just how this kind of format would work, the over-under 35.5. It's basically, are they going to then get 36 wins, or are they going to get over or under 36 wins, basically, or over under 35.5, they say. But yeah, so it's kind of like a prediction thing. They have their own. I'm going to give my own and see if I think theirs are decent, what I personally think for a team. And yeah, we're starting off with the Hawks here, with their prediction being their record 38-44, and then my prediction obviously might be a little different, and the over under set at 35.5. So, me being someone that does sports bet and like pretty good at sports betting, I think this is also something that I have, at least some type of knowledge on. I mean, this is not the type of sports betting I would do, but yeah, I definitely think it plays a little bit of a part. Anyways, so yeah, over under set at 35.5. I think they will be over this line, just simply off the fact of this team. I think obviously they lost to DeJounte Murray. I don't think they're still that bad of a team. You still have Trae Young. Jalen Johnson could be pretty nice this year in another year of development after last year kind of having that breakout season. They acquired Dyson Daniels. I think he could provide a lot defensively, and I think obviously we all know he's not as good as DeJounte Murray, but I think the fit of him with Trae Young is maybe slightly better. Just because I feel like for the size of Dyson Daniels, I think it's pretty nice. And obviously they're both good defensive guards, but like I feel like it's just a better pairing. Especially for the point of Dyson Daniels' career, it's like he doesn't really have to take like a main role. And I think Trae Young's more that guy that likes the high usage. He's one of those type of guys. So I definitely think it's a better maybe fit, a little bit, just slightly, not too crazy. And then obviously they still have Onyeka. I don't know how long they're gonna have Clint Capella, but overall their conference is, well, not weak, but they're the weaker conference, and it's kind of top heavy in the East. And so yeah, I think they definitely can get 36 wins at least, just off playing some of the other teams in their conference that are definitely worse than them. And I think having Trae Young alone, obviously I don't think he's insanely good. Some people think he's really, really good. But I think just having talent like him, compared to a lot of other bad teams that don't have players the caliber of Trae Young, I think off that alone he could definitely get you a lot of wins. Or not a lot, but at least over this amount. Next up, they have the Celtics, 56-26, and that's their prediction. And then their over/under set at 58.5. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely taking the under here at 58.5. Obviously, last year's 60-win team, and I think obviously this doesn't mean they're gonna be a bad team going under. I don't think they're gonna be a bad team. It's just simply, everyone kind of talks about it, how teams win a championship and then the year after they kind of don't care as much about the regular season. I think that could be in effect. They also won't have Kristaps for a little bit to start the season, and I think that's also going to play a big role in it. And let's not act like 56 wins or going under 58.5 wins doesn't make them still a good team. They could still end up being the first seed with 58 wins. And so, yeah, like, I think they'll go under 58.5, but I still think they're going to be a great team. It's just more so that I think they're going to just wait till they turn it up for the playoff time. Kind of just make the playoffs. They don't really care, and then once they're in the playoffs, that's when they kind of turn it up. So yeah, I definitely think they will be under 58.5. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets, and they have a prediction of 19-63, and then they have the line set at 19.5. This is an interesting one. I think they're gonna go under. I mean, obviously, it seems like it's a hard number to go under because it is so low. But this team is pretty bad. I mean, they just traded Mikal Bridges. I don't know who else is going to still be on this team when the season starts, or at least by the trade deadline even too. with Cam Johnson being someone that they can probably get rid of, Dorian Finney-Smith. And yeah, I mean, just in terms of talent, if you look at a lot of the other bad teams in the Eastern Conference or just bad teams in general, they still have some, really nice talent on their team. The Pistons, the Wizards, the Bulls, like some of those teams that you're expecting to be kind of bottom tier teams, they still have like some guys. Like, the Bulls still got Kobe White. They still got, Josh Giddey, as much as you could say the off the court stuff or certain things. I think he's still a pretty decent player. Still have Ayo, Vucevic. Like, they still have a good team. Pistons got a lot of veterans. The Wizards had a decent draft class. Overall, I think the Nets didn't really add. They're kind of just getting rid of. While a lot of those other bad teams have kind of added. Aside from the Bulls, they got obviously worse. But yeah, so I could definitely see them going under this line, and I'm going to take the under of 19.5 for this Nets team. Next up, they have the Hornets. They predict 28-54. And then their over-under is 29.5. I personally think they're going over this line. No debate. I know the Hornets are a terrible franchise, so this is probably something I shouldn't be doing. But I think having LaMelo for a full season alone could definitely make them be a 31 team. Also, with the development of players like, Brandon Miller, if he could have another step in development after his rookie year, they have at least some options on this team that they're starting to build. So yeah, I could definitely see them going over this 29.5 mark. Obviously not too crazy, but I could see them being like a 30-32 win team. I could see it happen. And so yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna go with the over here for the Charlotte Hornets. Next up, we got the Chicago Bulls. They predict 30-52. Their over/under is at 27.5. So I don't know if I would say 30-52, but I think I'm leaning towards the over. I mean, obviously last year they lost a good amount of not a good amount of pieces. They really have only lost a few guys, but it's obviously some of the biggest guys. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this team's not going to be a good team. We all kind of know that. But, like, 27.5, I feel like they're going to be better than. I don't think they're that bad. 30-52 is still likely a bottom 5 team in the league. But at the same time, I still think that 27.5, I could see them getting, like, 28, 29 wins. I could see it. So, yeah, I'm going to say over for the Bulls. But I also have to think about it when I'm doing this because, and this is kind of something that you'll see, especially with sports betting, since, like I said, I obviously know how to sports bet. I'm a good sports bettor. Almost like correlation. If this team's going over, it doesn't make sense that every team's going over. Like, you can't just say everyone's going over or everyone's going under because, obviously, if they're playing each other, it's self-explanatory. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I'm kind of leaning on this because I kind of said over for a few of those other Eastern Conference teams. But yeah, I still think they're gonna go over. I just don't think this team's that bad. Like they're bad. I don't think they're that bad. Next up, they have the Cavs, 49-33. Over under set at 47.5, and I'm gonna go with the over again. Last year, I don't know what their record was. But I probably should be looking at that for this. But I definitely think that this team is going to be pretty good. Actually, I'm going to take the under. I think this is a bold take probably because I'm sure there's probably a lot more people that would probably take the over on this. But I'm taking the under. And I kind of think about it in more of a sense of I don't think this team really improved too much. And a lot of the other teams that I do think once we get to in the Eastern Conference, they are teams that I think improved. And for that reason alone, I think that's going to be what changes them. I think 47 wins is definitely a really good, 47.5 is a good line because I think they will be like a 47 win team. Like I think they might barely be under this 46, 47 win team. But yeah, I that's just my prediction. Next up, they have the Mavericks, 51-31. Line set at 50.5. Yeah, I'll go over 50 and a half. I'll go over 50 and a half. I could see. Do I? Nah, I'm gonna go under. I'm going under here. I think they could be a 50 win team exactly, or a 49 win team. I don't see them going over actually. Um, I mean, I just don't think their team is good enough to be a 51 win team. I know that might be a take that a lot of people are not happy about, but I mean, obviously they were in the finals. I think they'll be good when it comes postseason, but I feel like the Mavericks have always been a team that in the regular season they're just never that good, or at least as of obviously like recently, they're just never that good. They kind of just playoff time they'll come into play, but regular season I definitely don't see them being that high of a amount of wins, even with the addition of Klay Thompson. Nuggets, they have 55 and 27. Their over/under is 51 and a half. This is another team I might take the under on. Actually, you know what? I'm going back and I'm taking the over because this is kind of correlation-ish. I could see it, I guess. If they have the line this high for the Nuggets. So yeah, you know what? I fully agree. 51 and 31 they could do. For the Nuggets, I don't think they're going to have 55 wins. I don't. It is only KCP, but I see them definitely being worse this year. And this might be a little bit of a bold take, but I'm going to say they're going to go under 51.5. That might be a crazy take, but I'm going to say they're going under 51.5. They can still obviously be, 51, 50-win team, but I don't think they're getting 55 wins. I just don't see it. Obviously, I mean, I could see it, but, I don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm going to go under here for the Nuggets on 51.5. For the Pistons, 23 and 59. Their over-under set at 25.5. I'm taking the over. Right? Yeah, I'm taking the over. I think the Pistons are going to have a better year this year. I mean, and this is still them being a lot better. Actually, they were pretty bad last year. I'm actually going to take the under. I'm taking the under 25.5. Part of me really wants to say over on this team because I think they made the right additions, some good additions. But they're still a really bad team, and to win 26 games would still be a lot more wins than they had last year, as much as that might seem kind of crazy. So yeah, I definitely think it's possible, but I'm gonna say under 25.5 for the Pistons. Warriors, 46 and 36. They're over under set at 43.5. And I'm gonna take the under. Taking the under, bro. I don't see this team being good. Obviously, they were going to possibly get Lauri Markkanen. He got an extension. He's obviously not going to get traded, most likely, now that they did that. And, they lost Klay. They got Buddy Hield back, Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson. I think they made some decent additions, but I just don't see this team being that good. And the biggest thing I think about is last year they were pretty decent. They were okay. And that was also without the Houston Rockets, who I think are going to have a lot better of a year. The Memphis Grizzlies are going to actually be healthy again. And I could see the Spurs being a team where it's like they're actually going to win games this season. I think they're not going to be that bad. They're going to be bad probably still, but I don't think they're going to be that bad. And I think they're just one of those teams there's a lot better teams in the conference. It's going to be hard for them, I think, to win more than 43.5 games. I'm taking the under on the Warriors. Rockets, their line set at 43.5 with 44 and 38, as Bleacher Report says. I'm also taking the over here. I think the Rockets are a young team that is definitely going to have a really, really good season. Something maybe not at the same caliber, but I think like the Thunder last year, where, young team kind of showed potential late in the year. And then obviously the next season after, they kind of actually make that playoff push. So yeah, I think 43.5. They're gonna go over this. Okay, they're gonna go over it. And so yeah, 44 wins at least. I have for the Rockets. Pacers, 46 and 36. Over under set at 47.5. And I'm gonna take the under here also. I feel like last year could possibly be slightly not what I think this team is as good as. I think this team's still good, but I don't know. I don't see this team having 48 wins. I don't. I could see them finishing kind of like Bleacher Report has here, 46-36. I could definitely see that a lot more. I don't think they really made any additions enough to even kind of improve this team. I think it's majority just going to be Benedict Matherin's going to be back, which is going to be good, and then just kind of natural development for all their players, as really being the only things that they have going for them next season. So yeah, I'm gonna take the under on the Pacers. Clippers, 40.5 is their line. I'm taking the over here. I could see them finishing like they have here, 42-40. I think the biggest thing is star power alone. I think is too good for them to be under 40.5 wins. If you have a player like James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, as long as they're healthy, this team is going to at least be a competent team, to at least win more games than they lose. Okay, they're going to be above 500 with this team, I think. Obviously, that could all change depending on what happens with them two, because if they both go down, this team could easily be one of the worst teams in the league. But yeah, so I think they will go over 40.5 just off star power alone. I think that's going to make them a decent team. They have the Lakers 44-38, over under set at 43.5. And I'm going to take the over on the Lakers, call it bias, whatever. Obviously, they didn't really make any moves. But I still think on paper this team's better than a lot of other teams in this conference. And I think that, last year they went 47-35. I think they'll at least get 44 wins this year. Even if they lose 3 more games, they're still going to be over this 43.5. So I'm taking the over on the Lakers. There's not much to really say aside from that. Next up, we have the Grizzlies, 49-33, over under set at 47.5. I think I'm gonna take the under here, but I think they're still gonna be a good team. Like 47, I think could be a good line. Or the line they do have set here, 47.5, I think is a good number. I don't see them being a 50-win team. I feel like it's hard to kind of turn around things that hard. I know obviously it was because of injuries, but at the same time, I feel like for everybody to kind of be out with injuries or dealing with certain stuff and all that, to kind of just instantly kind of flip that switch back and being a really, really good team right away, I think is almost too hard, especially when you have Zach Edey, who I think playing as the starting center is definitely going to be something where kind of make or breaks their season. But I see them going under this mark, not by a lot. They're still, I think, going to be a playoff team, and all that. But I think that is a high number for a team that didn't really do anything last year. Next, they have the Heat, 45-37, over under set at 44.5. I'm gonna take the over. Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I mean, the Heat. It's just the Heat. The Heat are always good, so because of that, you kind of have to just kind of go with it. Okay. They have the Bucks, 51-31, over under set at 50.5. Another team I think will go over. Do I think they're that good of a team? Honestly, not. I think they're obviously a good team, but championship contender, I guess maybe, but I don't know. I don't think they're insanely good. I don't know. I just don't think Dame's fucking defense is built for playing in playoff games. Anyways, yeah, I have them going over. Not much else to really talk about. They had, obviously a few additions, Gary Trent, stuff like that, and obviously, like I said, with the past teams in this conference, they're playing against a lot of weak teams in this conference. So I see them getting 51 wins. Yeah. Next, they have the Timberwolves at over under 52.5. 50-32 is their prediction. I'm definitely taking the under on 52.5. I think this team honestly could take kind of a step back after being really good last year. Maybe not to the point where they're a bad team, but I don't know. I mean, I think this is kind of a year where it's going to be kind of a gap year in between where they're gonna want to be and kind of where their players are starting to get old. You know, Rudy Gobert, I really could definitely see him in after the season possibly not being with the Wolves, or he just is kind of falling off. Someone like Mike Conley, who I think this could be kind of his final year where the Timberwolves really care about him because they have Rob Dillingham. So I think it's kind of going to be like a gap year where it's like this year kind of is what it is. Next year is where they're like, okay, yeah, this is where we really do our thing. And so yeah, I'm taking the under of 52.5. Pelicans 46-36, over under 45.5, and I'm gonna take the under. I'm taking the under. Honestly, I don't think this team is that good. Call it what you want, but especially if they do trade Brandon Ingram, they obviously got DeJounte Murray, so it's a little bit different of a team. But if you looked at last year's team for the Pelicans, they had some of the most fraudulent wins last season that I've ever seen. Literally, if you go through a majority of their schedule, a lot of their wins last season were against teams where their best players were out. It literally was the case. I mean, the amount of times I've seen the Pelicans play teams where literally they were missing like 2 or 3 of their best players was honestly pretty high. So yeah, I think this team's still really good on paper, but like I think they're going to have like 45, 44, 40, 43 wins around there. I think a lot of their wins, like I said last year, were just too fraudulent. I don't think this team is that crazy. Obviously, with DeJounte Murray, it could change that a little bit, but yeah, I think they're gonna go under. New York Knicks, they have an over/under of 53.5. Okay, yeah, taking the under on that. 53.5, I think, is way too high. I do think the Knicks are gonna be really good, but like 53.5, I think is just too high. And obviously, I could see them doing it, but I think it's just way more unlikely that they do it than they don't. So yeah, I could see them finishing more accurately with kind of like 49 wins, like Bleacher Report kind of has them, or 50 wins, 51 wins. 53.5, yeah, we're taking the under. Thunder 55-27. Their over/under is set at 56.5. Honestly, I'm taking it is a high line, but I'm gonna take the over here. I think this team made perfect additions, and I think this team's already young and could take another step developing. I think the Thunder are gonna be insane next year. And so yeah, I'm taking the over. It is a high line of 56.5, but I'm gonna take the over here. I think this team's gonna be really nice. So yeah, they could definitely be a team I see get 60 wins. Next up, they have the Magic, over/under set at 47.5, and they have them at 48-34. And I'm kind of one of the people that is a big believer in this Magic team. But I don't know. You know what? I am going to say over. My biggest question about if they go over or not is still their guard position. Like a true point guard. I mean, they have Jalen Suggs and stuff. They signed KCP, who's going to be good at like the 2. But I still think like playmaking is something that would be really nice and could solidify this team. I think Paolo is going to take another jump. And I think he's honestly becoming one of the most underrated first-round picks or first picks in the draft I've ever seen. I feel like people don't talk about Paolo that much, honestly. Like, I really don't. And I think he's playing amazing to where it kind of makes no sense that they're not talking about him. And they still have a lot of pieces around him. I think they go over this mark. Next up, they have the 76ers with a over-under of 52.5. 52-30 is what they have as their predicted record. I think they go over this. Or I don't know. I mean, I think this team's going to be really good. I think it comes down to like the health. Like Paul George, I could see missing some games. Joel Embiid, I could see missing some games, and that's going to obviously play a part in their final record. Yeah, you know, I think that I'm going to say they go under 52 or 52.5, but I could see them finishing with 52, like exactly 52 wins. So yeah, I'm kind of riding with Bleacher Report on this one. I think they're going to finish with like 52, so I'm taking the under. Next up, they have the Suns 50-32. Over/under set at 47.5. I'm taking this under. Taking the under. This team's not getting 50 wins. I don't think this team is good enough. I don't. I just don't think this Suns team is good enough. I'm taking the under 47.5 wins. There's not much else to say. Over under set at 21.5, and they have the Trailblazers finishing 15-65. Okay, that's a really aggressive from Bleacher Report, but I do see them going under 21.5. This team's not good. They are honestly the worst team in the West. There's not many other teams you could even think about that are like not worse. So yeah, this team's definitely gonna be bad. I'm going with the under of 21.5 for sure. Sacramento Kings 44-38. Bleacher Report predicts, and they're over under set at 46.5. I'm taking the under also here. I think they could be obviously a good team. 46.5 wins I think is too high. I see them getting like 45, 46, but I don't see them getting 47. Next up, they have the Spurs, over under of 36.5, and they have them finishing with 33 wins and 49 losses. I'm gonna actually take the over here. I'm taking the over 36.5. I think Wemby alone, his development, I think he's just gonna be insane next year. So Wemby alone, I think, mixed with them getting Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, Stephon Castle in the draft, I think this team's gonna be pretty decent. I could see them having 37 wins. And being kind of a play-in team this year. So I'm going to go over 36.5. Raptors here, their line's 30.5. They have them finishing 26-56. Yeah, I'm going to take the under of 30.5 and kind of ride with Bleacher Report. I don't know if 26, maybe I could see them getting a few more wins, but I don't see them getting more than 30 wins on the season. So we're going to go under on the Raptors. The Jazz 26-56. Their line is 29.5. This one's scary because it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna go over. I'm going over 29.5. The Jazz, literally, the year that we all kind of thought they were gonna go into a rebuild, the year that they traded kind of everybody, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, stuff like that. This team still played pretty good, and they've been that every year basically, where they're still a team where it's like, obviously they're not playoff team, but they're also not bottom of the barrel bad. Like, they're always kind of middle of the pack, play-in kind of team. And yeah, so that alone, I think they're gonna have 30 wins. I like Keontae George a lot. Lauri Markkanen, obviously they're gonna still have. It looks like they're not gonna trade him, and I think that they definitely have a lot of young pieces that could take developmental steps. I think they will have 30 wins because of that alone. And then lastly, we have the Washington Wizards, over under set at 21.5. They predict 20-62. And I'm gonna take the under. This team's still not good. I do really like their draft. I do really think they have added a few good pieces. But overall, this team's still not good, and I could see them trading, obviously, Kuzma and Jordan Poole, which would also then probably make them an even worse team. So, that's going to do it, because that is the last team. So, y'all let me know what your predictions for some of these over-unders are. Obviously, just kind of having fun with it while the offseason isn't for much longer, honestly. I mean, football comes back. Literally, this weekend is the start of college football. Then football starts shortly after. And once football season starts, it basically means basketball is right around the corner. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.